Attenzione! We start this morning, this Monday, this week, the week that will bring us towards Juve against Lazio, Allegri against Sarri, Locatelli against possibly Ravella with a big bomba news. Clamoroso is Sport Mediaset writing. La Juve è in vendita. Juventus is for sale. What is right? What is wrong? Because since yesterday night, all the translation accounts, the fan accounts, but also important journalists are using big, beautiful graphics with the big title, Juventus is for sale. Let's go in detail and also telling you why I didn't jump on the news since yesterday night, but I waited a few hours. Then in the second part of the video, we'll speak about big names that are playing at the moment with their international team, like Rabiot. There is a big rumor and positivity towards him, extended not for 1 year but few years. What is right, what is wrong, is it a benefit or not? What about the other players? We'll also speak about Locatelli in today's video. Attenzione, maximum of like, continue to subscribe if you didn't yet, because we are about to start. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Look, I'm smiling because a few days ago, and you know it when you watch the video, someone asked me, Beppe, I don't know how, but I admire how you're always being able to find a topic to speak about Juventus. Well, I told you, when you think that there is nothing to say, there is always something to say, especially during international break, where the papers, they need to find something, otherwise nobody is buying it, otherwise nobody is reading it. A lot of time we are speaking about the love of the national team of Italy or the love of the club, what is actually worth the most to love. Is it your club of your country, or is it the club that you're loving with the black and white colors? Well, ragazzi, we know it. In Italy, it is like that. For a lot of people, for really a lot of people, they want to know about their club. Not that much about the Italian national team, especially in moments like that where even the national team is doing really bad. Well, I went to the source, and that's why I didn't jump on it yesterday evening, because when it's a Mercato-related news, you can even press record immediately and you speak. When there are news that can affect the future of your beloved club, from La Vecchia Signora, you need to be a bit more cautious, because then people, they read the big titles, not knowing the background, and then you go with fake news. And that's why I wanted to take a bit of time, but it's true that we have to speak about it. Clamoroso, la Juve è in vendita. Big news, Juventus is for sale. Where is it coming from? Well, if you're opening today the pages of Il Giornale, what can you see? What can you read? Juventus in vendita, Juventus for sales. The big maneuvers to prepare saying goodbye to the team already started. Of course, when you see these kind of big articles, not only you read all of it, but you also go towards who is the author, who is writing it, who is taking that responsibility. What I see immediately is Tony Damascelli. First of all, you have to understand that Il Giornale at the moment is suffering a bit with their sales of the paper. Then, Tony Damascelli. What did he wrote in the last few months to understand a bit if yes or no he's a reliable source? Well, a few weeks ago, we are speaking about the 20th of June 2023, he said, Damascelli, at Juventus, Icardi will arrive. He will be the new striker. We started 23-24 since 3 games. Mercato is closed. I didn't see Icardi at Juventus, but according to Damascelli, he was the new striker. Then he continues also a few weeks ago saying, Elkan is not losing time. He already dismissed Allegri. The agreement with Allegri will be found from Damascelli. Ragazzi, at the moment, if I am looking at who is our coach, I see Allegri on the bench. Then we continue about all the trials, the process, the court, and the off-the-field topics. Damascelli again. We already know it. It has arrived. Juve will play in Serie B. Mamma mia. When you read all these kind of articles, you say, is Damascelli Tony really someone reliable when speaking about Juventus? I'm questioning myself. Then I went back to 2006. 2006, the 20th of July, when Juventus was in the eye of Calciopoli, una voce a Torino, a rumor in Turin. That's what he heard, a rumor, a source that of course he can't mention. Juventus is for sale. In 2006, when you see below, the same author, we are speaking about Tony Damascelli. Ragazzi, do we really have to start giving power to a source that couldn't find not even one reliable news, that couldn't even provide on Mercato, on the coach, on the sentences of trial, not even one topic he was right on, calma. Then I am old enough to tell you with my experience that every single, 2-3 years, we hear again about Agnelli, Elkan, the property, the ownership that wants to sell Juventus. I am proud, and I told you so many times, that we are the only club with the same ownership for 100 years. Agnelli family with Elkan and so on, they did so much for the club. It's something that we can be proud of, because you know what you have, you don't know what you can have. Look at all the disaster moments of Inter, Milan, with all the change of ownership. Then you will tell me, yes, but at the moment they are doing well. But how long before they were doing well in Serie A? You never know what you can have. You don't know. From people like Manchester United and so on, how many clubs with new ownerships that do not really care about the club, that do not have any affinity with the club. Then could it be something good? Maybe. I'm totally against it. Then it could be that Juventus is opening for some minor stakeholders that are entering Juventus. Maybe Juventus is thinking to do another financial plan. Maybe they are trying to have some capital increase by themselves or by some other people that could potentially become partners of Juve. These are things that can happen. Then can it happen that in a few years Juventus could possibly sell Juventus? Maybe. But at the moment, if we are analyzing facts, I can tell you that looking at the author, Tony Damascelli, it's not the first time that he's speaking about, and I believe it's more like a big news to put on paper in moments where there is nothing to say about Juventus. But that's absolutely not the case at the moment. Also because this part, as I'm speaking now, has been added in post-editing, because the news just came that the spokesperson from Exor, owners of Juventus, just totally denied the news of Juventus being for sales. Ipotesi priva di ogni fondamento, means a news that has been reported on the papers that has absolutely no credit and doesn't exist. Speaking about the second topic, and of course, you know how much I appreciate your comments on YouTube. If you want to tell me if you are pro, if you are against, if you think it's right for me to wait a bit before telling you with a bit more facts, with really facts that you can see instead of jumping, let me know. Or maybe sometimes you prefer that I go immediately recording. I'm curious about that. Let me know. Second part, Vlahovic e Kostic, tutti per Allegri. Vlahovic and Kostic, all for Allegri, with that smiling Allegri picture. That's not the first time that we see. Every time that there is a beautiful news about Juve, you know that the papers are loving to use it. Wait, what are the nice news? Well, that yesterday, Kostic didn't play at all, 0 minutes. Vlahovic entered in second half towards the end of the game. We have a Milik that didn't play a single minute with Poland, that lost, by the way, yesterday 2-0. Szczesny played, and that's a good news because we know it. The energy spent from a goalkeeper are high, but different from a football player in terms of runs, kilometers, and so on and so on. He played yesterday for the second game in that international break, which means that against Lazio we'll have against our first goalkeeper. But the good news is that these 4 players, from tomorrow, they will be back in La Continassa to prepare the game against Lazio. L'Equipe, for the very first time, because it never happened, for the very first time, Adrien Rabiot did an interview with them for 1 hour, which never happened in the past, so L'Equipe was really happy about it. You see, j'ai toujours aimé être libre. I have always loved to be free. What is he speaking about? About the role, about whatever? No, he's speaking actually about the sponsorship. So because Adrien Rabiot is not working, for example, with Adidas, with Nike, with Puma, he has not, a technical sponsor. That's how you call it. Why? Because he always wanted to be free and do whatever he wanted, which is great. But that's not that much important for us. It's important the voices that are coming from France. Because if we knew that Juventus would have anticipated a possible meeting with the mother agent of Adrien, Véronique, to possibly speak about 1 year extension at the same salary, or maybe even a multiple year with lower salary, a lot of people were still in doubt. Will it really happen or not? He just renewed for 1 more year. Well, the sources are quite optimistic about Adrien Rabiot extending. Look, I had the honor, and I really say it's a honor, to speak with him for 40 minutes, a bit before in backstage, then live. And I was super happy to hear the words of Adrien when publicly he said, I did it because I love being at Juventus. I didn't want to leave Juventus in a difficult moment. You never know what you can find somewhere else. I am here in the year of the Euro. I want to give everything. I know the coach. I have a stability. I'm doing well here. I just come from my best year. I love the city, I love the environment. Well, Adrien Rabiot, he conquered my heart, and it was not something that easy, not something that was sure, that was a fact, because I was not a big fan of Adrien Rabiot coming from Paris Saint-Germain to Juve. Then when he came, we all saw that the first 2 seasons were not wow, where he needed time to start growing that third before being a fundamental MVP of the last year of Juventus. Now he started already with 1 goal, okay performance the first, not that much in the last 2 games, did really well in the first game with France. Okay, they played against Ireland. It was an easy game, but they did really well. And it's not easy to perform at that level with the players and the choices of the French national team. So I can be fantastically happy if this happened. A sense of belonging, wanting to stay at Juventus before knowing if Juventus will enter again top 4. So that could be really a beautiful act of love from a player that is important. Another sign that Juventus is going towards the right direction, but it's also possible to go towards the right direction, is that now with Giuntoli already doing his pre-work during the summer since he arrived the 7th of July, now Juventus has a big difference regarding on this summer. They can prepare themselves, they can anticipate, because if last year we didn't know what would happen with Juventus with all these off-the-field topics, now Juventus can focus and speak about one thing, the future with Juventus, without thinking about off-the-field, but only on the field. The players, we know it, lowering wages to still be at the best there, with the best possible players, but still sustainable and consciously of the prices. And this is what Juventus is doing. We already spoke about it. Szczesny, Rugani, maybe Paul Pogba depending on the physical condition, Gatti extending with higher fee, Chiesa. So we are really trying to level all these costs. Gazzetta dello Sport is speaking about the change with Spalletti that wants to go and win in an in or out game nearly with Ukraine tomorrow on Tuesday, because he wants to put 3 new starters. Zaniolo, Scalvini, and our boy Locatelli, that should have played that first game. He didn't. So more quality, this is what Spalletti is waiting for. I'm really curious to see how Locatelli will play against Ukraine tomorrow, because that's an important one, an important game, but also for him, for his morale, to see if yes or no he can play that position and how he can change his way of playing, knowing that Spalletti is known to be an offensive coach. So I'm really curious to see him. That would be really fantastic. Then, attenzione, because we have a problem with Italian national team. Gigi Donnarumma, that Zenga is saying, I am forgiving you, but on the other side there is a big problem now, because Donnarumma, since his move to Paris Saint-Germain, is not really giving all that confidence, that trust that he's still the best Italian goalkeeper, especially with Vicario that is waiting behind. Vicario that started the Premier League with Tottenham in a fantastic way. Another player that is in difficulty, that is not anymore a player of Juve, is Matthijs de Ligt, that is since the beginning of the season a bench warmer at Bayern Munich, but also with the Netherlands. Yesterday, Van de Vaart spoke about him, saying that Matthijs de Ligt, and for the people that do not know who Van de Vaart is, he's a player that played at Real Madrid, at Ajax for example. Well, he said Matthijs de Ligt is making many mistakes. It's a player with zero rhythm. He is very disappointing, you know, and I will not change my narrative. I have always believed in Matthijs de Ligt. I think that he's a good player. I wanted him to stay at Juve. But look, maybe now, with a bit more than 1 year further, maybe Juventus didn't do bad to not sign Donnarumma, to sell and gain as much possible money on Matthijs de Ligt. No, because we are always speaking about the people that we regret, and we always go back to Cancelo, to Coman, we always go back to Henry, but we never speak about sometimes the fact that Juventus did maybe well in not going all in for players that with a bit much time we see that we are not 100% sure. We finish with the last news. Tutto Sport is speaking about plusvalenza Italia. Attention, because when we see plusvalenza, we are starting to be scared. Why are they speaking about it? Because Orsolini has been called up with the Italian national team for the game against Ukraine. I don't know if he will start or not, but he has been called up. And why are they speaking about plusvalenza? For a simple reason, because Orsolini was one of the topics in the trials where they were accusing Juve to have actually blown the value of the Italian player, saying that 10 million euro selling him to Bologna was way too much, and that possibly there were some dark sides in that story. Orsolini, that is still at Bologna, that just renewed, that is about to become a captain of Bologna. Orsolini that has been called up to the Italian national team. So was 10 million too much, or was it actually not enough for an Italian national team player? These are the questions I'm asking for. Could be that today I go with a second video because there is an important topic I want to discuss about. It's the salary mass, because we are still number one with the most cost in Italy for the players that we are paying, with at number one Dusan Vlahovic. If we are speaking about the gross salary that is earning, there is also Alexandro in that top three. I want to go towards a discussion with a smaller video about the values of the salary that we are giving to the players. Are they correct one? But also, is it always like that the team that is spending the most on salary is the team that is obliged to win a competition? So if you want to put the notification ring on, so when the second video of the day will go out, you will be the first one to see it. Maximum of like, continue to subscribe on the video. Grazie, forza, Juve.